ask yourself, what's the one thing that I really don't like doing that I think AI could that task for me? And then once you see that and you adopt it, then you can share it with other team members and say, okay, what's the one thing that is holding you back that day or that you don't like to do? And then you start implementing it on them. And then people start seeing the massive benefits. And then they'll say to themselves, hey, I think this is the way to go. Hello and welcome to the Happy Money Podcast. On today's episode, we're going to be discussing, can AI replace a coach, and some ways that you can use AI to make yourself more efficient. Michael, how are we doing today?
Doing well as always, Pops.
This is sort of your lane because for me, I'm the grumpy old guy and I don't want to get into technology and all, but I've learned over the years, you can think that way. And I've learned from somebody, I love this quote, is curiosity is the currency of learning. Think about that for a second. If you're not curious about AI, even if you're afraid of it, you're fearful of it, are you learning? Are you growing? And that's the important thing. You can sit back and say, well, I'm too old to learn AI. And well, you're going to, number one, get left behind. And number two, possibly not even be able to utilize some of the amazing tools and features and benefits that AI can help you with.
So that's interesting because every generation has gone through something like this.
Yes.
Go back to 1900. I think people transitioned from horses to cars.
Yes.
Imagine how many people were like, I'm not doing, what is this? They get left behind.
Yes.
30, 40 years later in the 1940s, how many people using horses?
Yes.
Right? It's all cars.
Yes.
And so you go forward to 1994, the internet starts. Now you have to learn the internet.
Yes.
2023 comes, ChatGPT, you got to learn AI.
Yes.
It just always repeats the cycle, right?
Yes. I don't want to bash your grandmother, my mother, but she's one of those that I don't know if she has an email yet. I mean, she's 80 years old, but she just kind of to that point where, Gino, I've got a Bloomingdale's account. Can you set me up? And I get her points on it. And it's one of those things that I guess you can live that way, live in fear, but there's so many benefits to having an email address. And it's the same thing with AI. There's so many benefits right now that if you can start learning. But I want to get to the point, and this is really, you started curating this content for the show, and it was your idea. And I'm like, that's a great idea. And there's so many examples of how AI can help us, but there's so many examples of how sometimes you just need that connection with a human person. And if you don't mind, let me share the story that for me, I've been trying to work out and trying to lift weights and all. And I can jump on AI and say, AI, can you create me a 10-minute program 3 times a week to be able to become more efficient, to burn 300 calories, whatever the prompts are. And AI can spit out something beautifully. Actually, Sophia's doing that with her Pilates class. Amazing. What it would have taken her hours.
I saw her list. It was literally hours.
It's incredible. It would have taken you literally hours to compile that. But I didn't do that with my workout. I decided to go to Dr. Fatih, big shout out, chiropractor here in St. Augustine. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go to Dr. Fatih. I really want to get the personalized touch. It does a couple of things. Number one, every week, Wednesday at 11 o'clock, I go in, he treats me, and then I do my workout. It was just relying on AI. Am I going to do the workout on Wednesday? Maybe, maybe not. I would err on the caution
For
of
most of people, no. The answer is no.
Yes.
I'm one of those 90%. But I'll just say that right
But
now.
more importantly, Michael, during the week, I literally do the workouts because I know next week, he's going to treat me. He's going to look at my flexibility. He's going to look at my strength, and he's going to go, Gino, did you work out this week? And I'm going to say yes, because I know that it's so weird. I don't want to let him down. Unconsciously, and I don't know why. We'd rather let ourselves down, because if I didn't have Dr. Fatih, I'd go, today I'm a little tired.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a little cold. I don't feel like doing it. But that accountability is so crucial. So having the AI coach is one component, but having someone like you like to say, that accountability or that connection, I think is something that we're going to need even going forward.
Yes. It's interesting. There's voice AI, and this is part of it. AI coaching, ChatGPT's got its new pro model out, and it's great, right? It talks to you like a real person. It's got the similar tonality, but again, subconsciously, it's not real, and that this cannot replace a person.
Mm-hmm.
Like an hour of AI coaching cannot replace 5 minutes of talking to a real person.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's something that gets lost there.
And that's interesting. So I'm going to give you a couple of case uses of how we use it in real estate, Michael. And that's really interesting. First of all, don't assume that whatever AI is telling you is actually accurate, correct?
Oh, I've been saying that for months.
Right.
I'm it's the smartest and the stupidest thing ever. hands down.
Why is that? Is it because what they call hallucinations? Because at some point, it's just trying to scrape all the data that's
Yeah.
available on the internet. Some of that data may be wrong, correct?
Yeah, so it tends to, I always say, use the internet, check sources, because a lot of times it just kind of use what's in its database, and it doesn't keep up with what's going on right now.
And it's the same thing when I'm underwriting a deal or I'm looking in real estate. If I want to like underwrite a market, I can get some market data. I can go in there, get specifics. I can get rental comps for these properties.
Yeah.
It literally takes, if you know how to prompt it properly and go out, there's so many courses on Udemy. There's so many courses out there, very inexpensive, that will teach you how to prompt AI because it's all about the questions. I can get an market analysis done in 30 seconds, whereas years ago, it would have taken me literally hours to find all that data, scraping it from CoStar, scraping it from Crexi, going on LoopNet, going on BLS.gov, all of these different websites. Now that's what AI is doing. Now, like you just said, once you get the data, you have to go and confirm that the data is accurate, but it can really set you up. And the other way we're using it, we're trying to create customer journeys. We're trying to create retention as far as the property. So in property management, we're building all of these different automations within our business to really help us out. Do you know how long it would take to build these automations without using AI? You just prompt it and you can ask the questions. What are some of the ways that can help me retain more residents in my properties? It might spit out 20 different ways, and then you continue to prompt it. If you get 2 or 3, they're golden nuggets. They would have taken you days to figure that out, and AI can get it to you in seconds.
But you got to be careful, because a lot of times when I use AI, I normally get too much information at once, and I don't know what choice to make. So sometimes I'll step back and I'll read the first 1 or 2, and if I like it, then I'll look more into it. And if not, if they're all terrible, which has happened, I've done a lot of Amazon research. Give me these terrible suggestions, and I'll say, okay, give me 20 more, and I'll go through one by one until I get something that stands out and says, okay, this I can look into more.
So give me your experience you're having right now with the guy Sean you're working with Amazon, because this is the perfect case study. You want to open up an Amazon store. Can you do it by yourself, or is having the coach Sean there who's already built businesses and made those mistakes? Do you think you could do, just with Sean or just with AI, or what you're trying to accomplish, putting both of them together? Which is the best way to tackle that problem?
So hands down with the person. And here's why, okay? With the person, like you said, there's no accountability with AI. If I don't do the work, it's on me. And AI is going to be like, oh, it's okay. I'll do it. If you write that in AI, it's like, don't worry, it's okay.
Is it going to be like your mom? It's okay, Michael.
It's okay. Here's some information you don't need. But if I tell Sean, I didn't do anything this week, he's going to be like, okay, let's step back. What do we need to figure out, right?
And AI is what, $20 a month for chat? How much is Sean charging you?
Like $50 an hour.
Okay. Yeah. So you're paying Sean no matter what, whether you do the work or you don't do the work, right? Straight. That's skin in the game, isn't it?
Same with Dr. Fati. I'm paying him whatever it is a month, and if I don't do the work,
wait, how much you paying?
$250 a month.
Okay.
What are you paying?
That's the deal that I got. I want to make sure we got the same deal here, because I just want to make sure. And the reason why I went is because of you, because I saw the gains that you had. I'm like, oh, wow. Michael could do it on his own. And I remember you working out downstairs. It was erratic. It was sporadic. Some days you'd work out, some days you didn't. But now, since you've been going to Dr. Fati, you have a rhythm. You have a cadence of accountability. And I think that's what's important with AI is you don't have that cadence of accountability sometimes without that human interaction.
Yeah. And it's good too, because again, AI can give you information, but a guy can actually help you and actually do some of the work for you, right? I mean, he can show you hands-on. This is how I do it. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to go through my current products or whatever line of business you're in, and you can go off of that.
Is that what Sean's doing? He's literally showing you the business that he's built. He's showing you different websites that he's built, different products that he's actually sourced.
Yeah, pretty much. And he's showing me the tools. Helium 10 is one of the big Amazon tools. It tells you, all the information you could ever need. How much revenue in the past 30 days, how many units sold, that kind of stuff.
And then how are you using AI to help you with the Amazon store?
So Amazon store is cool because a lot of times you can ask it for product recommendations, and you can use, okay, so what I do is I'll say, hey, give me 20 ideas. Here's my criteria, price, units sold in a month, give me ideas for a product. And then I'll research it, see if it's actually true, and then we'll go further from there.
So what do you love most about AI?
I like how it gives you a bunch of really specific answers when you ask for it in a really quick amount of time. And the fact that, it can't do the work for you. Like, you actually have to do the work. It gives you the information, but again, it's up to you to actually do it, right?
Yes. What do you not like about AI?
That it doesn't do the work for me. I'm joking. No, I think it's too quick to get burnt out with AI, because the more you ask it, the more you're like, what's going on, right? There's too much information all at once, and so it's too hard to get sucked into that, getting too many ideas, because then you don't know where to go next. Whereas with a
Ah,
coach or a person, okay, maybe you'll have one or two good ideas and you'll go with
that's
that
a great
until
point.
something comes up.
That I got to ask you another question. This is just your opinion, but I want your opinion on this seriously because my generation hasn't had to go through this. Do you think there's going to be too much of a reliance on AI and the creativity and the neural pathways in your brain may not be formed because you have to really struggle with the work? Because when I was a young kid, I'd have to go to the library, open up the thing, go to the card
Yeah.
catalog, look at the book, then actually go find the book, open the book up, have 17 books stacked up to do a term paper, and really struggle for that information. Was that good? I don't know, but it made me work and it made me really dive into it. Whereas now you have it at your fingertips, you push a button and all the information's there. You're not really struggling for it. And are you learning?
The joke going on right now is if you graduated college before 2022, you really did something, because nobody had AI. And everyone now, 2024 and 25 and 26, they have every AI tool they could ever need. You literally don't need to go to class anymore, right?
That's a great point. That's my next question. How do you view college right now? What happens to college when professors are using AI and then they're telling their students not to use it? Do you see the relevance, or do you see the demand for college going down, or is it necessary to get a college degree if all this information is out there and you're hopefully going, whether you're using a coach, whether you're getting some kind of specific guidance or tutors from somebody? Do you see it's necessary to go to college now?
So it's one of those things where college never made sense to me in the way they taught it. And so I'm kind of glad something like this is happening, because you go to class, you take a test, you memorize a bunch of stuff, you graduate, you take classes you don't need. And so it's maybe this is a good thing, because, who actually learns going to a class, reading the textbook, doing the tests? Like, no, the way you learn is by going to actually do, like, if you're going to get an accounting degree and you want to work in accounting, go start at an accounting firm, right?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, college experience, the schooling is good, right? But you're really going to learn the meat of the business going to the business, right?
Mickey, that really dovetailed beautifully into the next question. Or I want to share this quote. I'm going to hold up this book. It's called The AI Driven Leader. The AI Driven Leader by Jeff Woods. Phenomenal book, Mickey. It's so easy to read, and Jeff's got programs. He's got a mastermind. I haven't done any of that stuff, but I read the book, and I've actually been utilizing AI through the book. And this quote just exemplifies exactly what you're talking about. Strategic thinking and decision making have always been critical leadership skills. However, our educational system often grades you on your ability to have the answer, not on your ability to search for one. How awesome is that?
Yeah.
And that's the thing with AI. The better the question or the prompt that you can ask it, it will search for the answers. We haven't been trained that way. We've only been trained one way to know the answer. And if you get the answer wrong, that ain't good.
You fail.
But that's not how you do it in business, and that's not how you do it when you're raising your kids, because you don't know the answers and you're failing and making mistakes and you're learning from those mistakes. So I think, to me, that's the power. This book is incredible. They have so many different ideas, so many different ways to use AI. What I'd say, Michael, is if you're in business, or even you're doing your Amazon store, the one thing where you can start with AI, and I think what most people end up doing is they end up getting completely overwhelmed. They're going to take the world over with AI on day one, instead of saying, let me just have like a small little morsel, a small little bite. And what I would say is, if you're going to start using it, just ask yourself or ask a team member or somebody in your company, what's the one thing that you hate doing all day? Well, the one task that you just don't want to do, that takes time and wastes time. And then you let them stop and think. And the answer may be, well, I hate reading T12s, or I hate responding back to residents. And this is, I'm talking in my business. And that's the one thing you start to solve for, because to adopt a new technology, it's really difficult. I was just having this conversation with our neighbor. He's a 2-star general, and he was talking about change. And he said, change in society has only been around for the last 400 or 500 years. When you're back in the medieval times, people didn't want change. Change was dangerous. You're basically living in a feudal system. If you change, all of a sudden crops don't grow next year, you're dead. So we're so resistant to change. And my hope for anybody listening to this is just give yourself a break. It's really hard to adopt a new technology, but adopt by a really small piece, and ask yourself, what's the one thing that I really don't like doing that I think AI could that task for me? And then once you see that and you adopt it, then you can share it with other team members and say, okay, what's the one thing that is holding you back that day, or that you don't like to do? And then you start implementing it on them. And then people start seeing the massive benefits, and then they'll say to themselves, hey, I think this is the way to go.
Yeah. And when you use, this is a little off topic, but I'm going to go with this. When you use AI to finally get your answers, when I set up my first LLC a few years back, I think I screwed up every single step of the way, from LLCs to all the business licenses to all the applications. And somehow I was not thrown in jail, thankfully, for all the mistakes I made. But again, like now I know how to set up all these things, right? I know what I need to do for future businesses going forward. Actually, for this past business we just started, I know all the licenses and everything because, I messed everything up the first time. And when you mess everything up the first time, the next 30 are a lot easier, right?
So why didn't you come to Papa and say, hey, Dad, help me
Oh, I
out?
did. I said, Dad, what does this mean? You go, I don't know. Go ask Todd. He was the bookkeeper.
So it's my fault. And you're right.
Yeah.
I was at that point that we have over 40 LLCs. I don't think I've ever formed an LLC. I don't think I've never done any of that stuff. And it's just amazing how if I had this tool for AI, I would just literally go on AI and ask it and maybe prompt it. But at the same time, AI is not a lawyer, and so any legal stuff that comes in,
even us, we're not lawyers. Go through your lawyer.
And talk about how you use it for your taxes, and talk about how you use it for other stuff. It's a great tool. Yeah. It's great to actually scrape what you have, but don't lean on it too much.
I use it for on a tax purpose. I'll use it to have a conversation with my accountant, right? And so if I have a question about what does this mean, I'll ask it, or even just do a quick Google search, right? I mean, Google at this point is all AI, right? Mm-hmm. And so, I'll ask it a question of, hey, what does cost basis mean? Give me the definition so that when we go into the calls and we start to discuss my cost basis on whatever real estate it is, okay, well, now I know what we're talking about. And I'm not just spending 20 minutes getting that explained to me, right?
I'm sorry that I didn't help you out, Michael. I should have helped you out a little more. It's one of those things where I couldn't help you out because I didn't know. But here's one more tip before we wrap the show up. This is important. I deal with a lot of contracts, whether they're property contracts, whether they're letters of intents, whether they're management contracts, vendor contracts. What you can do is you can throw that contract into AI, let it read the contract, and then you can say, hey, if I'm buying this piece of property, from a buyer's perspective, what are the pitfalls you see in this property, or the negative things, challenging things that you see in this contract? And AI will print them out for you. And then you can even ask, hey, AI, is it normal to have a 60-day due diligence on this type of deal? And AI can look at that question and see what's really normal or not normal. And it'll go into and take a look at a lot of the other things. But that's not where you stop. You have that information. So like you said, when you are talking to your attorney, you can ask the attorney. Exactly. So you save time with the attorney. You don't have to take an hour call. You have a 30-minute call, and then you have your bullet points. And then obviously you want the attorney to give you feedback as well, but you want to be prepared for the call. That's the cool thing about it. We had a land deal where we had some things in that land deal that we had never done a land deal before. And we're looking and I'm going, this due diligence period seems too long. There's not enough down payment. What are the other pitfalls? And we went in and we asked the attorney, and the attorney actually agreed with some of them. So we were able to go back and renegotiate with the other side. And they were like, oh, okay. And so for us, it was just a great tool, especially never doing a land deal before.
Yeah. So let's kind of do a sum up of this. So AI, this is what I have written down, is good for prepping, planning, and brainstorming, right? When you're prepping for your calls with your attorneys or your accountants, whatever it is, you know what you're going into, and it's good for getting ideas. That's the start of a business, is getting a good idea. But then finally, the coaches are the best for getting real human feedback, somebody who's going through your business, somebody who knows how to actually operate this kind of thing. And then you go from there, right?
Let me ask you, before you put any more points on that, would you do AI first and then get a coach, or would you get a coach first and then use AI?
I really don't see the harm if you can go for it to get a human. I mean, obviously, if a budget's really tight right now, it might be good to start with an AI, something like that, right? Because it's significantly cheaper. But eventually, the goal is to move over to live coaching because, again, the results will never be the same.
And when you started this business, you did start with the coach, Sean. I remember saying, hey, let's get into this.
Yeah,
If
that's
we're
right.
going to figure out this business, let's cut down our time so Sean can help us out. But then at the same time, while Sean's giving you feedback weekly, you're using AI as the tool to just to verify what Sean's saying and to actually help you out with it.
Pretty much, exactly,
Yeah,
yeah.
I love that. Any final words before you sign off?
I'm good. How about you? I'm
Once
always
again,
good.
I'm sorry I left you on an island there, but you did such a great job on the second deal as far as the LLCs go and doing all that work. And to anybody out there, it's really hard to do something for the first time. And maybe the first time you get on AI, it may be confusing, it may be difficult. Maybe even ask AI, what's the best way to use me? What's the best way to use you, AI? We want to thank you for spending part of your day with us here on the Happy Money Podcast. And as always, we'll see you on the next Happy Money Show. Take care.